We have international students also from Bangladesh, Cameroon, El Salvador, France, India, Italy, Kazakhstan, New Zealand, Panama, South Korea, Spain, Ukraine, and Uganda. So wow, what a gather. So thank you so much, and particular thanks to all of our distinguished faculty leaders who have led the student team and launched our forum. Our moderator today, which is Dr. Lorelei Ortiz, and our keynote speaker, Dr. Kathleen Wilburn, and the team leaders, professors, Dr. Jorge Washington Barrientos, UAD, Argentina, and we can share some digital closing here or something, or you can. And Dr. Dina Drespat from South Westphalia University of Applied Science, Germany, and her graduate assistant, Mr. Alexander Prokhorov. He's a PhD candidate, and hopefully soon will be Dr. Alexander.
Hopefully, yes.
Dr. Hadori Ahmed, St. Edward's University, US, Dr. Douglas Carter, St. Edward University, US, Dr. Yolanda Wobu, Universitas Sumatera Utara, Indonesia, and Dr. Ovidiu Cordin, Taxpayer University, Romania. And also a big thanks for Dr. Natalie Shen, who joined us today with her class. Thank you very much. And I think that I can best use my opportunity now to underline what I detect as an important message that the UN has conveyed to us, is to develop the shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. This message gives us a very valuable direction to the work of our forum today, and which I believe we must accept as a challenge to this forum because they demand responses and hard work from us all. Now I will hand over to Dr. Lorelei Ortiz. Dr. Lorelei joined St. Edward's more than 20 years ago, and she served as a department chair, as a Senate president for many years. She's now the associate dean for the Belmonte School of Business, and she will be the moderator for our forum today, and she will also introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Kathleen Wilburn. Thank you, Dr. Lorelei.
Good morning, buenos dias a todos. I'm Lorelei, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. My job will basically be just keeping the time and facilitating discussion. And just in case you're interested in knowing how the format of the seminar will go, we'll starting with introductions. We'll have the student presentations, which will take about an hour, 10 minutes per presentation. We'll jump into discussion and questions, which will be handled through the chat and through live questions also. And then Dr. Swid will provide the conclusion for today. So Dr. Wilburn is a very special guest today. See if we can mute everyone. There we go.
All right.
So Dr. Wilburn, she teaches undergraduate and graduate courses for us in the Bill Munday School of Business, also has been with us for about 20 years. Her distinctive expertise is teaching corporate social responsibility. She has a vast body of research that centers on benefit corporations and social benefit reporting, the impact of technology on business and society, and environmental, social, and governance reporting requirements, including research of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Dr. Wilburn regularly presents her work at various global conferences, including the Association of Practical and Professional Ethics, the Global Conference for Business and Finance Research, and the annual International Vincentian Conference for Business Ethics. And she's here with us. She's here with us today. Let me mute everybody. So she is here with us today to share some of her expertise with you. And with that, Dr. Wilburn, Kathleen, welcome and thank you for your time today.
And I'm happy to be here. I did hear
coming in this morning that there was a deaths, shootings, and kind of a war in South Africa over water between the people who need it to drink and the farmers. And so I think it just reinforces the problems we have today, and that business needs to address if we are going to solve some of our environmental problems. So, you know, we're attending our UN meeting again, and we keep coming up with ideas that we don't seem to be doing a really good job of implementing. And so I really believe that it's business that's going to have to step in and lead this. And of course, business is creating a lot of the pollution. But I wanted to just go over the principles of the UN Global Compact for Business and the Sustainable Development Goals, because they are now being adopted globally for much of the issues, especially involving the environment. And so, for example, this past June, the European Union Commission, as many of you know, mandated that companies report on environmental, social, and government goals annually. And so everyone for that report is using the Sustainable Development Goals. The vision of the Global Compact was to mobilize a global movement of sustainable companies and stakeholders to create the world we want. The compact has 15,000 companies in 60 developed and developing countries, or companies in countries, who are committed to the goal of business as a force for good. And so the UN Compact, Global Compact, supports companies to, one, do business responsibly by aligning their strategies and operations to the 10 principles on human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption, and then take strategic action to advance broader societal goals, such as the UN Sustainable Development Goals, with an emphasis on collaboration and innovation. And so if we look at the principles of the UN Compact, 2 of them are on human rights, 4 of them are on labor, 3 on environment, and then 1 on anti-corruption. And so the first one is human rights. Businesses should support and respect the protection of internationally proclaimed human rights. And one of the values I think that the UN business sector has brought to businesses is that rather than just giving lists, as we had a number of years ago, we now have mechanisms, we have goals for both the principles and the SDGs that companies can use to adopt these, so that they're not trying to do things on their own. And that, of course, focuses also on collaboration. And so the human rights principle 1, the compact says that businesses should assess human rights impacts and integration of human rights policies throughout a company. And so it's important that it isn't just outside the company that we're talking about, but also inside. Principle 2, businesses should make sure that they are not complicit in human rights abuses. And that is now involving the supply chain all the way through, where a few years ago, the assumption was that companies weren't responsible for their supply chain and what they might be doing in human rights, and that has changed. The next 4 are labor. Businesses should uphold the freedom of association and effective recognition of the right for collective bargaining. And then businesses should uphold the elimination of all forms of forced and compulsory labor. And the focus right now is on child labor and exploitative practices such as forced overtime, not only for children, but also for adults. 4, principal businesses should uphold the elimination of all forms. I'm sorry. The 5th one, businesses should uphold the effective abolition of child labor. And so it's important when I talk to my students about this, that different countries have different ages for work. And so companies need to research the countries that they are doing business in and identify what the laws and regulations are about minimum age provisions for labor, and some of them do change in terms of what kind of work, for example, a 14-year-old could do versus an 18-year-old. But again, if the country is allowing 12-year-olds in the workplace, then the company has a responsibility to use the international agreements. Principle 5 is, principle 6 is businesses should uphold the elimination of discrimination in respect of employment and occupation. And so that one is, again, looking at company policies and procedures that make it possible for recruitment, placement, training of staff at all levels that allow for non-discrimination. They should, moving into environment, support a precautionary approach to environmental challenges. And I note that the word is precautionary. So the UN has asked companies to develop a code of conduct or practice that confirms commitment to care for health and the environment. And then another part of that is supporting scientific research that involves environmental challenges, so that perhaps we can, as my students say, finally find a solution to plastic. Principle 8, businesses should undertake initiatives to promote greater environmental responsibility. And so what we're looking at now, for example, in those annual reports is that companies have assessment or audit tools so that they can look at environmental risks in their companies, for example. And there is a push toward life cycle assessment. In other words, right now it's kind of internal to the company. In other words, companies say, well, I can't help what the customers do with the plastic bottles, and I can't be responsible for my suppliers. And what everyone is telling the companies now is they need to look at life cycle rather than just what they do. The last one, they should encourage development and diffusion of environmentally friendly technologies. And I teach a course, MBA course in using technologies. And right now we're focusing on developing technologies that are environmentally friendly. And so that may mean changing manufacturing techniques. And it will include having companies reuse materials on site so that we decrease transportation. And then the anti-corruption, businesses should work against corruption in all its forms, including extortion and bribery. And again, that's important for global companies that are working in other countries, that they understand what the values of those countries are. Now, that was the principles of the UN Global Compact. Those then led to the development of the Sustainable Development Goals as ways to implement those 10 principles. And so what I've chosen to do is just give you an example of one of the measures that for each goal that the UN Business Group has proposed, because so many of the SDGs sound like it should be government that should be working on all these. And so first Sustainable Development Goal is no poverty. And so the goal is by 2030 to eradicate extreme poverty for all people, currently measured as people living on less than $1.25 a day. And of course, one of the things that I make sure my students understand is that we focus on a livable wage, and that changes from country to country, but it also changes in countries in parts of countries, because it depends on, New York City has a much higher livable wage than a town in North Dakota, for example, here in the United States. Zero hunger by 2030, and I'm using the 2030 because that's not very far away. It ensures sustainable food production systems and implement resilient agricultural practices that increase productivity and production, that help maintain ecosystems, that strengthen capacity for adaptation to climate change, extreme weather, drought, flooding, and other disasters, and that progressively improve land and soil quality. And so we do have a number of global corporations, particularly that are in the food area, that are helping farmers achieve those. But our climate change and extreme weather and drought is affecting many countries, and that is going to take global work. 3 is good health and well-being, and one of the goals is achieve universal health coverage, including financial risk protection, access to quality essential healthcare services, and access to safe, effective, quality, and affordable essential medicines and vaccines for all. And again, we have many of the health companies that are working on this, particularly in other countries that don't have the access to vaccines. But again, we as a global community need to support those companies in that work. The next one is, and I also mentioned too that by 2030, we're planning, hopefully, on substantially reducing the number of deaths and illnesses from hazardous chemicals and air, water, and soil pollution and contamination, which again is the global business side of the house. That's their responsibility to work on. Quality education is SDG 4. Ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. And that there are a number of non-government organizations and nonprofits that are working on that one, particularly in areas where access to education is difficult. Gender equality, enhance the use of enabling technology, in particular information and communications technology, to promote the empowerment of women. And so if we add that to quality education, we should be able to empower those women. And there is a movement right now, for example, in some countries by some non-government organizations to help women who are, for example, farmers, to actually develop their own farms so that they can sell their produce. 6 is clean water and sanitation. And again, by 2030, 7 years from now, improve water quality by reducing pollution, eliminating dumping, minimizing release of hazardous chemicals and materials, having the proportion of untreated wastewater, and substantially increasing recycling and safe reuse globally. And of course, that goes with SDG 3 also. But again, I really do believe that business has got to take the lead on providing clean water. And there are some very interesting small business products out now that allow people to put to reuse a mug that has a filter on it, so they can filter out water, for example, from a creek, and filter out the dirt and all of that, and actually have clean water to drink. So actually, small and medium-sized businesses are working in that area also. Then 7 is affordable and clean energy by 2030, enhance an international cooperation to facilitate access to clean energy and research and technology, including renewable energy, energy efficiency, and advanced and cleaner fossil fuel technology, and promote investment in energy infrastructure and clean energy technology. And again, that's businesses' responsibility. Decent work and economic growth by 2030, achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all women and men, including for young people and persons with disabilities, and equal pay for work of equal value. And I stress that because I think that equal pay for work of equal value is important to business. And then industry innovation and infrastructure, upgrade infrastructure, retrofit industries to make them sustainable with increased resource use, efficiency, and greater adoption of clean and environmentally sound technologies and industrial process, with all countries taking action in accordance with their respective capabilities. And so that one again is business focused, reduce inequalities, progressively achieve and sustain income growth for the bottom 40% of the population. Get to sustainable cities and communities, which again is focused on the business and responsible consumption and production, which is again reducing waste generation, business responsibility. And then we've got life below water, life on land. And again, business can help governments with those goals, I think very successfully. And then of course, the last two are peace, justice, and strong institutions and partnerships with the goals. And today our students will be focusing on Sustainable Development Goals 8, decent work and economic growth, 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, 12, responsible consumption and production, and 15, life on land. And so we now turn it over to our students.
Okay, who is first?
Thank you.
Okay, did we have our first presenters ready to share your screen?
Yeah, from Usul Gestalia.
Just let me see if we have the order of the presenters. I believe I have it in here. We have the Indonesia team is first. Let me give you the order. It's Indonesia, Argentina, the USA team, goal 8, Romania, Germany, and the last USA team on goal 9.
Let me start. Hello, everyone. Good night. My name is Talia Sofia Ninggolan, and I'm the representation of University of Sumatera Utara. Can I asking if my voice is, can you guys hear my voice?
Yes, you sound just fine.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would like to present about Green Growth Plan and SDGs in Indonesia. We already know that we have 17 SDGs indicator, how well Indonesia trying to achieve the objective of the indicator. Like we can see from the picture, it's actually not going really well because so many indicators need so many improvement and also so many major challenge that we met from this indicator to be achieved by Indonesia. And right now, even though it's not really quite achieved well, like the condition right now, but still there is improvement in some indicator. The main improvement is especially in indicator number 1 for the lower poverty, number 6 for the clean water and sanitation, and also number 8, decent work and economic growth, and also number 13 about climate action. So there is the development of how Indonesia trying to achieve SDGs. Some indicator has been stagnant and some has been like moderately. Currently, Indonesian position in the SDGs achievement for now, we cannot say that it's good, but it's not really that bad. The rank is 101 out of 166 countries. Indonesian government is also trying to accelerating the achievement of SDGs indicator through 7 national development plans, which include first is how to get the qualified and competitive human resources, building the national character, develop the economic resilience for the quality of growth, and also try to increase regional development for the equity, and also make economic development infrastructure and basic services for all people. And also trying to create the stability in political, social, and law condition. Here, Indonesian government have 7 plans to how overcome the environmental and disaster. So all this SDGs indicator has been tried to adopt to Indonesian own indicator. So basically there is around 280 indicator to achieve this SDGs. Currently, the challenge that we face in here is ecological, like what we see in our biocapacity has been decreasing over time is negative 0.4. So what does it mean? This picture is telling us Indonesian ecological footprint has been rapidly increasing and we degrading our environmental sustainability. So our environmental has become worse now. But we know that why is this happen? Because basically there is economic growth here. The economic growth caused to this environmental degrading, because as we know, the economic development is the base for economic activity and it's attached all the network, resource, and environment. So the economic growth has been contributed to declining poverty, but not only affecting the environment degradation, but also the rising of income inequalities and inequalities. So based on that, we should find the development plan are not only consider that economic output, but also environmental and social aspect. If the environment sustainability is decreasing, so especially for the land, it will affect to SDGs achievement. SDGs achievement is decreasing because the land is deteriorating. So what will the solution for Indonesian? Right now, Indonesian government trying to do green growth plan for SDGs. So what does the green growth mean? Green growth means is it's trying to fostering economic development while safeguarding and the environment on which our well-being relies. So basically green growth more focus on SDGs number 8 goals, and in particular is topic 8.4. So what is the SDGs number 8? Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. And for the target number 8.4 is ensure global resources efficiency in consumption and production, and endeavor to decouple economic growth for environmental degradation. So there is 5 principles of green development and growth. There is well-being, increase the justice, prosperity depends on the healthy ecosystem, low carbon, diverse circular, and also the good governance who can support everything. The 7 strategies that some of Indonesian province are following this green growth plan. There is the first effective incentive mechanism of ecosystem services, effective forest and landscape restoration, increased connectivity and economy of scale, land use planning, increased access to capitals, improve productivity and benefit from unit area, and improve value chain. In North Sumatra, there is some research in Indonesia trying to make scenario, and there is 3 scenario here. The first one is there is no government intervention for the green economy. We call this as business as usual. So will be a green economy with the base case and green economy with a realistic case. Basically what government trying to do is try to enforce green growth plan through the policy intervention of the government. So why the policy intervention would be a result and how it compare to the green economy. Okay, if we see for the research result, without intervention of business as usual, in the first GDP will be higher, but over the time, the economy development through the policy intervention through green growth will be better, as we see after 2028, the economy development with the policy intervention will be had better outcome for the economy. So that means basically our economy will be like more sustained if we enforce the green growth plan. So what is the policy intervention and the government has done? There is some action. First is agriculture infrastructure improvement, quality improvement of agricultural products, land and forest rehabilitation, reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, institutional capacity building of farmers, farmer knowledge and skills improvement, information and communication technology improvement, spatial alignment, and business improvement of biodiversity and environmental services. Okay, thank you for the chance. I will give back to Professor Relulai.
Thank you very much. That was excellent. And I think just to make sure everybody gets through their presentations, we'll hold all the questions until the end, and then we'll have some discussion and question periods there. So if we could move on to our next team. Let's see, that was Argentina. If you'd like to go ahead and pull your slides up. And thanks again to the Indonesia team for getting us started.
Okay, so hello everyone. We are from UADE, Argentina. We are going to present. Let me see if we can do it. Everyone hears us right, and you can see everything. Okay. There we go. So we are going to focus on the goal number 10, reducing inequalities. We know that in Argentina, there are still main challenges about this goal. We think that regulations and laws have been developed throughout the world, and we have evolved much from the past, but we think that laws and regulations are not good enough to actually make a diverse workforce a reality and to make inclusion real.
So here, obviously, we want to focus in companies, and we go from a place of tolerance of these diversities and it is differences in people to respect these differences. And now we want to really focus on include these differences or this diverse workforce, diverse group of people to the workforce in companies. And we think it's very important to understand that inclusion is not just recruiting people that is different, but to understand the enrichment that can be that inclusion of different way of thinking, different experiences, like the real competitive advantages of including or being inclusive.
So here we want to focus a little bit of about young people and how the world thinks that we are the key to change and the key to step up and actually create this beautiful world that we have in mind. But are we really the key just alone in the world, or we need the support from others and the support from elder people and younger generations, of course, to make the change and to actually make this a reality. So of course, what we think is that older generations need to support us and to be open to our new ideas so that everyone can change in the way and along the way, and not just us.
Something important here is that we have been seeing a change from many years to now, but is this change, or is this the direction that correctly reduce inequalities, or we are going maybe in some cases to a direction that it's an improvement, but don't let us completely take the advantage of inclusiveness and everything. So for us, we need to speed up this and also to rethink the position in which we are or the path we are going through to do this, because it's not only following the laws and wanting to improve, but also to evaluate ourselves and to think which behaviors we are having that reduce inclusion and that reduce diversity without us even notice it, to evaluate our feelings and our behaviors in everyday life and also in work life, because normally we don't think we have a problem until we really evaluate ourselves, and maybe we can find a lot of problems or a lot of misconceptions in ourselves that we need to change before wanting to go in the path with the laws and regulations and everything.
So what can we do to change? What do you think? Well, we wanted to do like these open questions, but I guess we need to leave this for the end. But we wanted to think and reflect on what it is that we have to do to really speed this change up and to make it attainable for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And definitely, we'll come back to that question because I think it's a really important one and we want to hear everybody's input on that one. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, we have another colleague that will be a brief presentation.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good. So this is also Team Argentina Part 2, right? Okay.
Justin. Hi, how you doing? I'm going to present now a presentation. Sorry. Is my microphone working properly? Well, hi everybody, I'm Samantha. Continuing with the presentation.
Excuse me to interrupt, sir. I'm not sure if it's only mine problem, but I cannot hear you at all.
Yeah, I think we lost you, Roman. Are you still there? Can you hear us?
Phones which weren't working. Can you hear me properly now?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
perfect. I'm
Okay,
gonna
we can hear you.
continue like this now. Sorry for the inconvenience. Well, starting again, I'm gonna continue with the presentation of the girls. I'm gonna say another point of view for us, starting with the global sustainable development goals. Firstly, there is, in my opinion, a more important topic than other. We need all of them in order to start developing a more sustainable future. It is known that we have a no return date marked by scientists. And in my opinion, the first topic that brought my mind first was quality education. Because in my opinion, this is the basis for the future in order to keep making the other topics available in a near future. Well, quality education. So to start with, there are two topics in quality education. Firstly, for education of quality, we first need education to be available for everyone. In many countries, it is a fact that there are many different levels of education depending on the income. Here in Argentina, the availability of education is not similar. Here in Buenos Aires, we have a really important education. However, in Salta, in the north of the country, there are not many schools available for all the children, nor teens, because of the terrain, the amount of people per kilometer. And the other part of the quality of education is the type of education. Nowadays, the education is changing, it's not so repetitive. We are not just focusing on learning formulas, learning how to read, which is the basic. But in the quality nowadays, we need a more interactive education. We need to be part of the solution, started being part of the development, making questions, doing projects about us in the other presentation, green activities, how to recycle, how to think of new energies. Continuing, this is some facts of the United Nations Forum and reports. Since COVID, there has been a drastic change in education worldwide, starting in the person-to-person education. Here in Argentina, we have one of the most stopped one-to-one education for more than 50 weeks. This changed a lot. This affects really deeply the education, because in first years education, pre-primary, kids and teens, when stopping attending, they lost focus, and it's really hard for them to start again and continuing. mostly something that happens here in Argentina is that once they stop attending school, they have to start working because of the situation in COVID, not having the real income. And when once they start in the working force, it is not probable for them to restart in education, because once they are in the job, they can't stop it. They become a main income of money in their families. Well, here is a statistic from, again, the United Nations Forum, which sets the amounts of weeks that it has been stopped the one-on-one education. Here in Latin America is the example of the most stopped one-to-one education. Well, now I will be really pleased if you scan this QR. The focus for our group was the quality education, meaning a new focus, and also having it available for everyone. I would like to know what are your opinions, what is your main perspective if education shouldn't be political, if the availability, as I said, gender equality also. I didn't spoke of the availability depending of gender, as there are many countries in which it still depends the gap, the roots between males and females. So if you would like to comment, to answer this question. Funding, yes, totally. This is a really important aspect that happens here in Argentina also. Education divided in public and private. For example, the universities here, I have the opportunity to be part of WADI, I have the privilege, but however, not everyone has this privilege. There is UBA in Argentina, Universidad Nacional de Buenos Aires, but the problem is that there are many contestants, many people, so you have to go for a lot of screenings, and not everyone have the time to keep the screenings with all the time. Access to technology, totally, the availability of technology in the pandemic showed the lack of structure that we have in many countries in order to assist and attend, not only because of Wi-Fi and mainly because of the basic computers, curriculum, transport, funding. Well, I'm really glad because of your participation. Many thanks.
Excellent. That's very good. Yeah, so great presentation so far. And the engagement. I have to check out that Slido. That was awesome how you did that.
Thanks.
Well, and we can probably pick up on these themes again at the end with some of these questions that we'll have for you. So thank you, Roman and Team Argentina. And next we have, I think it's Team USA, Goal 8, develop a global perspective for development, the importance of financial sector. So US team can go ahead and put up your slide.
All right.
Slide deck.
All right. Hi, my name is Nico Smith. I'm from St. Edward University in Austin, and I'm going to be talking about the development of global partnerships with an emphasis on the financial sector. This presentation is based on Econ 3333, which is a money and banking class taught by Dr. Akbar. So first off, why do we need banks? And to start, I want to look and get a little bit of historical context, specifically focusing on Europe around the 15th and 16th century, where you had a huge amount of wealth inequality. You had kings and nobles on one side of the spectrum, and then essentially everyone else, where instead of using a monetary form of payment, it was very much a bartering system of I need this, you need that, which causes there's a lot of potential for increased issues. To kind of bridge that gap of wealth inequality and to begin the technological innovations that we see today, banks were created. The way they do that is they provide liquidity services to the economy. An incredibly important, what's the word? I guess theory is that, or idea is that every dollar invested has to be saved first. So you do have to put up some money into a bank to save your money for that dollar then to be invested, which creates a beginning of wealth for people. They help reduce transaction costs. There's block lending, and then the big thing that banks do is give you accessibility to everyone to receive loans to kind of create their own businesses to improve their own wealth. So something else that banks kind of tackle, a big issue banks tackle, is going to be the information asymmetry issue that is seen in the financial market. What that is going to be the unequal information between borrowers and lenders. So think giving money to a friend versus a stranger, or in a used vehicle market, there's the uncertainty of quality. So the seller with more information can take advantage of the less informed buyer. Without banks, information asymmetry can make lending and borrowing go stagnant, because if you can't trust the person that you are lending money to, you don't want to risk your own wealth in something that you have no idea if it's going to work or not. And if you can't trust them, you're just not going to end up investing, which is bad because investments do fuel economic growth and they help in the job creation aspect of the economy. People with lucrative investment projects will not have access to finances, which can cause a lot of issues down with logistics and just down the line. And then you can find evidence of economic stagnation in South and Southeast Asia during the 70s and early 80s. Within the information asymmetry issue, you have two kind of sub-issues. The first one's going to be adverse selection, where two parties have different amounts of information, resulting in an undesirable transaction, right? So think going into a mechanic shop, needing an oil change, but they tell you you need a new transmission, which may not have been necessary. And then the individual lender may not lend money because of a lack of trust. So you start not trusting these mechanics, which can cause issues because you might have needed that transmission change, but because you don't trust them, you don't end up doing it, which causes a ton of issues down the line. The other aspect is going to be the moral hazard issue, which is when a borrower behaves irresponsibly because the lender cannot observe their behaviors. So the big example for that is the automobile insurance industry, where the driver is not constantly observed. So that is like why deductibles can be as big as they are, because the insurance agency cannot watch you drive. They just have access to you. They might have access to your history, but you might have just gotten really lucky. There's a lot of other factors that they don't see. So the solutions that banks do provide to these issues are going to be, first off, for adverse selection, bank protocols to screen good borrowers. You also have market-based solutions where companies compile credit rating scores. So for sure in the States, I don't know if it's this specific corporation it does things abroad, but I think Credit Karma. So it balances the information side of it. You also have government regulation, where the government comes in with legal requirements for accurate income and wealth documentation, so that banks are more aware of who they are lending to. For the moral hazard issue, again, you have some government regulation in where they support contractual obligations, and you can get collateral so that you are kind of forced to act in good faith. Then also another thing that is seen is representation on the board of directors. So that's going to look like a member of a bank is going to be appointed to the board of directors of a corporation, so they can kind of oversee what's going on, where that money is going to, and they have a better idea of kind of just overall what's happening. And then you have compensating balances, so enforcing a minimum account balance within said bank. So in conclusion, a stable financial market is a prerequisite to having economic growth and development. Banks can provide solutions to the aforementioned issues of information asymmetry, adverse selection, and moral hazard. And they provide a sound legal framework, which is a necessary complement for any stable financial sector. And finally, a sound financial sector will propel investment, creating growth and employment. Thank you.
Nicely done, Nico and Team USA. That's a very good application there. All right, and next we have Team Romania, SDGs in Romania, a case study.
Hello, can you hear me properly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. You can see our presentation?
Yes, looks perfect.
Okay, perfect. Perfect, thanks. So hello everyone and welcome to our presentation about the Sustainable Development Goals in Romania. First of all, I would like to introduce our team. We are Julius, George, Joelle, and me, Manuel, and we're students of the UBB in Cluj, and we study at the Faculty of Economics and Business Administration. So let's start with our agenda. So at first we'll talk about the Sustainable Development Goals globally and locally, and afterwards we describe the company that we chose to evaluate this particular SDG. And in the third point, we are going to tell how this company relates to the selected SDG. And in the end, we also have a conclusion and our references. So to start off with a little motivation. So here's a small example how SDGs are implemented here in Romania, in Cluj, where we study. So on the left side, you can see a vending machine where a man makes squats, and after 20 squats, this vending machine will give a free public transport ticket to him for a free bus ride. And on the right side, you have the electric buses in Romania, which are driving around here in Cluj. So as you can see, it's just like a rather small thing from a global perspective, but the Romanian city managed to address two SDGs regarding like health and also from the environmental perspective within their public transport. So if we now look, take a look at the numbers. So this is the SDG index score on a world average from 2010 to 2021. And you could see that it was steadily increasing in the past 21 years, which is an indicator for it that the governments all over the world put a lot of effort to increase the SDG index score. On the next slide, we have a graph which is a relation between the government efforts and the SDG score. And you can immediately see that there's some kind of positive relation between those two variables. And in the middle, in the blue box, you can see Romania. So they are approximately on the rank number 55 when it comes to the government commitment. So if this is a kind of relation, Romania should definitely put more effort into the government's commitment to enhance the SDG score. So let's take a look at the overall SDG performance in Romania. So on a global perspective, Romania is ranked on the spot number 30, and the country score is with 77.7, a little bit higher than the regional average. So that's quite good in comparison to the regional average. If we take a look at the overall trend of the SDG performance in Romania between 2000 and 2021, you can see compared to the OECD members that on the left side, Romania is rather in the lower third compared to the OECD members, and in 2021, it's rather in the middle. So it was not only steadily increasing over the years, but also got better in relation to the other OECD members. So if you now take a look at the SDG trends in Romania, it can be seen that there are still many areas where significant and medium challenges exist. In the trends, it can be observed that the goals in which improvements have been made, such as clean water, poverty or health, and that they kind of still outweigh those where the challenges were decreasing. So there's a lot to do, but at least like the increasing of certain challenges, or like the increasing of the improvement, is way more than the decrease or the stagnation. So next off, we are going to talk about the particular SDG goal we have been choosing for our company that we will present. And it is the life on land, which refers to the protection of terrestrial sites, freshwater species, and forests. And after the introduction to the SDGs in Romania, I will now hand over to Julius, who will introduce the company we selected for this case study.
Thank you, Manuel, for introducing me. In the following, I'm going to introduce you briefly to the company that we'll be talking about in terms of SDGs. The company is named Papyrus AB, and it is a Swedish paper packaging seller with their headquarters in Gothenburg. With sales of 1.6 billion euros per year and around 1,900 employees, the company Papyrus is one of the largest paper trading companies in Europe. They are present in 16 countries like Belgium, Norway, Romania, so on and so forth. The Romanian subsidiary, Papyrus Romania, was founded in 2007 and is since then operating here in Romania. The vision of Papyrus in general is to be first in the industry, so their customers can be first too. This is an important credo of the company. Throughout the past, they had many acquisitions until they reached the point of being on top of the industry. Papyrus' mission, however, is to improve business efficiency by offering not only essential products, but also value-added solutions that contribute to a successful business. That is why they are not only offering products related to paper, but also in-house logistics solutions to make sure that the products reach their customers on time. In detail, their product range includes cleaning and hygiene products, packaging products, paper and board for printing industry and office paper. And as I mentioned before, the product portfolio is complemented by a comprehensive and quality logistics solution and efficient procurement throughout the entire purchasing chain. Now my colleague George will continue and will show you what Papyrus is doing in terms of fulfilling the 15th goal of the SDG goals of the UN.
Thank you very much for introducing me. Hello, everyone. As you have seen, my name is George, and it's an honor to be here. I will introduce you next how does the company relate to the SDG. The SDG goal, what is found in Papyrus, the company I work for. The Papyrus company relates to the SDG through the 15th goal, namely life on land. First of all, the most important aspect that the Papyrus company is proud is the FAC International certification, which is the Forest Stewardship Council. It's an international non-governmental organization dedicated to promoting responsible management of the world's forest. Since its foundation in 1994, FAC has grown to become the world's most respected and widespread forest certification system. As a result of this certificate, we support nature, we support animals, but also the environment. The vast majority of our customers order FAC paper for their needs, and also we can be proud of the fact that we can also sell a lot of FAC recycled paper, more precisely 60% recycling paper and 40% natural craft paper. Further, the company also certificates other paper products such as TESA adhesive tape, which is one of the best-selling packaging tapes, product code 4713, which means that more and more customers and industries are looking for certified and eco-friendly product. How did we appear in the media? This is a good question. We are not the type to brag about such things in the online environment. I know it does not sound very good, but we believe that we can help two industries at the same time, the client, but also the environment, without publishing such things on the internet. As soon as the customer contacts Papyrus, he is lead in an ecological environment. And we are also proud that we can support nature with our product, and we will continue to expand in this sense. Now I will leave my colleague Joel to continue with the conclusion. Thanks.
Thank you, George, for introducing me. Now we are at the end of our presentation, and we want to make some considerations. As we have seen till now, the SDGs are a series of 17 interlinked global goals established by United Nations. And they are designed to be a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. And they are expected to be achieved by the end of 2030. Firstly, we have understood that during the last years, each country in the world is putting a big effort into implementing policies which can lead them to reach these 17 goals. And then we analyze the specific situation, one of Papyrus. And as my colleague George described, it is the perfect example to take into consideration when one thinks about the 15th goal of life on land, given its certified commitment to supporting animals, nature, and environment in general. Finally, we just want to say that given our sensibility to these topics, we all are proud of this approach, and more in general, we are very happy with the steps forward the United Nations are doing in order to leave us and to the next generation, especially a better world. Then we can show you our references. And thank you very much for your attention.
Bravo, Team Romania. That was a great case, and the analysis also really excellent. Thank you for that presentation. And next we have Team 5, which is Team Germany. SD Goal 12, Sustainability and Consumption, Contextualizing the Role of Electromechanical Devices in Green Industrial Policy Making. So welcome, Team Germany.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, greetings everyone. We will be presenting on behalf of the South Westphalia University of Applied Sciences, and our topic today will be sustainability and consumption, contextualizing the role of electrochemical devices in green industrial policy making. The participants are Jessica, Rizal, Chiara, Adil, Andrilla, and Abu. So today our agenda holds, we will be talking about the introduction, why we chose Sustainable Development Goal 12. Then we dive deeper into lithium batteries. Further, we move on to the advantages and disadvantages of relying on lithium. And at the end, we conclude with solutions and implications of how lithium is the future of our current generation. Our topic today is based on the SDG 12, which is responsible consumption and production. And we will be focusing specifically on target 12.2. By 2030, achieve sustainable management and efficient use of natural resources. The population of the world is increasing day by day, and hence the amount of resources required to cater to these human needs is also subsequently rising. We are highly dependent on Earth's resources, and we are consuming it at an exponential rate. However, in this process of consumption, we are leaving behind a black trail, which is not only harming us, but also the Earth. We are using these natural resources and exploiting it, but these are not renewable like the sun or the wind energy. Hence, it is very crucial that all of us need to take action to implement sustainable solutions, not just now, but for the future generations to come. The question here that needs to be addressed is that we not only need sustainable consumption, but at the same time, we need sustainable production. We need to reduce the carbon footprint in different processes, make production of materials much more efficient, and to reduce waste. Hence, sustainable consumption and production deals with doing more and better, but with less, and how efficient we can be. We need to focus on decoupling economic growth from environmental degradation. If we really want to save our resources, we have to divert our mindset from economical gains and focus on the welfare of the earth and its people. For example, certain actions taken by countries like Denmark, Germany, Norway, Sweden have each committed to ban the sale of combustion passenger vehicles within the next decade, increasing the lithium demand. This is where our topic comes in. If we look at one dimension, the production, where is lithium found? Chile, Australia, Argentina, and China are home to almost 92% of the world's lithium reserves. And if we look on the other dimension, we can see that from 2019 to up to 2022, the demand for lithium has been growing. It is also projected that the demand will further rise within the next decade. Now, why are we talking about lithium? It is very clear that our dependence on lithium is growing as an alternative solution, as a resource. But will we be able to tap its power in the most efficient and sustainable way? I now hand this presentation to my colleague who will further continue.
Thank you, my colleague Andrea. I am Rezal Krim. So the topic, why our topic is digital. So why did we choose lithium? So the problem is that the amount of resource is limited, but the consumption of resource lithium is increasing day by day for varieties of products. As you can see from the first chart, 74% of the lithium consumption accounts for batteries. In the second chart, we can observe the projected market demand for lithium-ion batteries used in electric vehicles in by 2030 by application. The demand in growth is growing rapidly. Next slide, please. So among the alternatives, cobalt and nickel are also crucial component in such batteries along with lithium. But the fact is that situation is not better with them as well. If we look at the reserve and also consumption, and next chart, please. The scenario seems horrendous. If we look at the consumption as well, the scenario is very terrible. Now we would like to focus on some facts of lithium. Lithium is the lightest metal in the periodic table. Light and rechargeable batteries power mobile phones, computers, and rechargeable power tools. They also power the motors that drive electric bikes, hybrid and electric cars, electric trucks, and mining machineries, etc. Lithium enables grid-connected, large-scale energy storage. Limited supply and good demand have posed lithium price to a new level. As you can see, since the start of 2021, seaborne lithium carbonate price have risen to 413%. Lithium hydroxide price have risen 254% to, which is $31,900 per metric ton CIF, according to S&P Global latest data. And if we see, due to its strategic significance, lithium resources will be more difficult to obtain and control. Therefore, lithium resources will become a key factor restricting the development of the industry in the medium and long term. The lithium-ion battery industry is predicted to expand from $44.2 billion in 2020 to $94.4 billion by 2025, mostly due to electric autos. So here are some facts, and also we'll have some research on it. So the main two facts we will address is the first one: the main resource of lithium are situated in areas that are very arid and have almost no rainfall. However, the extraction and processing of lithium requires huge amounts of water. In cases where it is extracted, it is attributed to environmental and cultural devastation. And second point is, fact is, crucial component in such batteries like cobalt and nickel are also limited resources. So based on this, we have two research questions here. Firstly, is it possible to get more lithium or cobalt or nickel that is ethical and green? But to decarbonize driving, one needs to find alternatives. And then our second research question is it possible to establish some consumption patterns to utilize these resources till 2030 or even longer period of time? Now I will hand over to my colleague.
Thank you, Rezal, for handing over the speech to me. So one of the key things we needed to do to be able to further our research were find out the advantages of lithium-ion batteries and their disadvantages to know if we can use them for sustainability goals or not. And as you can see on the screen, we have 4 advantages: harnessing renewable energy, low maintenance, versatility, and performance and longevity. So these are not the only advantages, but due to time constraints, we've presented what we thought were 4 of the most important advantages. So as my colleague earlier said, lithium-ion batteries are rechargeable batteries. And because they can store energy produced by renewable sources during periods of high production, they can release it in response to demand if power production slows down in the factories which use them or those who use them personally for other things. Another advantage is its low maintenance. So lithium-ion batteries are able to deliver substantial current for high power applications. And additionally, they require less upkeep and they don't require regular cycling as compared to other batteries such as nickel cadmium battery or nickel metal hydride battery. A third advantage will be its versatile nature, in other words, how quick and efficient it is. So lithium-ion batteries offers the greatest degree of adaptability for all kinds of application thanks to its rapid rate of charging and discharging. In other words, the efficiency of lithium is unmatched, particularly under conditions of extreme stress. Unlike lead-acid batteries, lithium's power supply is not impacted by changes in temperature or energy levels. And the last advantage we present to you is the performance and longevity. Lithium-ion batteries typically last 5 years or longer. On the other hand, lead-acid batteries are up to 10 times less durable than lithium-ion batteries, which continue to operate at 80% of rated capacity, even after 2,000 cycles. Aside from the advantages, I will also bring to you the disadvantages of lithium-ion batteries. The first disadvantage we found important was fragility. So high voltages can harm lithium-ion batteries because of their propensity to overheat. This occasionally results in thermal runaway or combustion. Another disadvantage gearing towards fragility would be the age. So lithium-ion batteries would always age more rapidly than other batteries, even when one does not use them. A second disadvantage will be environmental dangers. Like every other resource extraction, the extraction of lithium is harmful to the planet. There is a possibility of soil degradation, water shortages, biodiversity loss, and also harm to the ecosystem processes in general, if these resources, such as lithium, are removed from the ecosystem. According to hydrologists, the mines might drain important ecosystems and deprive indigenous tribes from priceless water. The last disadvantage we bring to you is the danger of health. So to all those who are living around the minefields or around areas where lithium is being mined, they are exposed to certain diseases. In the long-term run, they can have coarse tremor or hyperreflexia, and in the short term, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and other diseases. So I would hand over my speech to my other colleague who would continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will be introducing some of the possible solutions. So on the next slide, the goal is to produce lithium in the framework of a circular economy. So in contrast to this, a linear economy operates under the assumption that resources are infinite, which is unsustainable as it generates waste. A circular economy is based on 3 core principles, which I will introduce in detail on the next slide. So the first being the prevention of waste through design. To increase sustainability in the electric vehicle industry, batteries need to be designed to minimize inputs and optimize performance capabilities. The second being the reuse of materials. Materials are kept in the production cycle for as long as possible, with recycling used as a last resort option. Materials at the end of their lifespan can re-enter the production cycle as new inputs, closing the loop. And lastly, the regeneration of nature. In a regenerative system, resource inputs, waste emission, and energy leakage are prevented by slowing and closing energy loops. New extraction technologies have the potential to produce the world's greenest lithium. Salton Sea is an example of this. It is a landlocked lake with contaminated water from decades of toxic runoff from the local area farms. Salton Sea is rich in natural geothermal resources. The lithium is extracted from the brine steam and processed on site. Next, we will introduce some of the criticisms. So a circular economy focuses on limiting resources and the prevention of waste. However, in order to be truly sustainable, a holistic approach, including social and political hurdles, need to be part of the solution. Lithium is traditionally extracted from open pit mines, which requires a significant amount of water to process. This creates a direct trade-off between one use and another. While there are alternative methods possible, we are not yet operating at the scale needed to sustain demand. Huge quantities of solid-state batteries need to be produced in order to drive down the cost curve. The scale of production required comes with environmental concerns, as production sites will transform existing wildlife habitats. Because of this, there is a significant opposition from environmentalist groups and local communities. I'll now hand over to my colleague to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Jessica. To conclude our presentation, we'd like to highlight the implications of the greater paradigm shift that goes behind sustainable consumption and production of lithium. Electrical batteries, including the lithium-ion batteries, which were the focus of our presentation, represent only a fraction of electrochemical devices and are representative of a larger challenge at hand, which is to make electrochemistry more sustainable. Working towards short and long-term solutions outlined in our presentation would have repercussions far beyond the scope of lithium mining, battery production, or even energy in general. As you will see in the next slide, batteries are far from being the only industry reliant on lithium, and the global lithium in use stock is heavily concentrated in the most industrially developed regions of the world, such as the United States, the European Union, and Eastern Asia, namely China, Korea, and Japan. And these countries don't only use lithium to produce batteries. As you'll see in the next slide, lithium is vital for such industries as glass and ceramics, metallurgy, and alloys, as well as for production of lubricants and chemicals, and even is used in seemingly unrelated disciplines, such as forensics and optics. That is where we arrive to the first focal point, which is polymath sustainability. Extraction and purification of lithium in batteries, or sustainable use of platinum and catalytic converters, and a myriad of other metals would make seemingly unrelated disciplines sustainable. We would expect a multiplicative effect whereby by increasing the efficiency of lithium production and improving its recyclability would make it more readily available for a myriad of disciplines. And second point here is sustainable production, whereby transitioning to a circular economy would negate the harmful effects of mining and processing of lithium and other metals, thus alleviating the negative health and environmental effects that it has. Finally, we come to three main points that would come from embracing circular economy and the place of lithium in it. First one is resource security, and this comes to a point that most countries do not have a complete industrial chain and are reliant on lithium imports from other countries, making the global lithium supply chain highly vulnerable. Increasing the focus on more efficient production and recycling of lithium would alleviate this burden. This also comes down to resource efficiency, whereby we know that we are to expect a large market demand for lithium, and make it more recyclable would answer those challenges. Finally, it will require supranational effort because due to the vast geographic scope of the lithium market, no one market agent or government can successfully manage lithium recycling on a global scale. On that point, we will wrap up our presentation, and if you have any questions, we'd gladly hear them.
Thank you very much, Team Germany. That was very well researched and very solutions focused. An excellent presentation. And we will certainly have questions for you. We'll just hold those till the end. Here we have one more team to get through, and then we'll have some time left for our discussion and Q&A. So we have finally Team USA, Team 2, focusing on Goal 9, Innovation and Infrastructure Sustainability in Austin, Texas. So Team 6, go ahead and get your slides up. Thank you.
Diane, do you want me to share or?
Yes, that's fine.
For sure. And
Okay. Hello, everyone. Today we're going over the innovation and infrastructure and sustainability in Austin, Texas. We're representing St. Edwards. Want to go to the next slide. I'm Diane, and we have Angel, Casey, and Dr. Carter joining us. We will be going over SDG Goal 9, which it's build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. We'll be going over 3 topics, the Tesla Sustainable Housing, the Boring Project, and Samsung Semiconductor Facility. Let's start with the Tesla Sustainable Homes. It is the first Tesla solar neighborhood in the world, and it's located here in Austin, Texas. It is dubbed the nation's most sustainable residential community. These houses contain the Tesla V3 rooftop, which function both as the solar panels and the roof tiles at the same time. They will also have the Powerwall storage, which will hold the power that's generated when not in use. Therefore, it can be used when the sun is not out or as a backup in case of a power outage. They started with phase 1 last year during June 2021 with only 12 houses. And this was basically, they used the solar and battery. They got feedback, and they also gather information from the labor force, how much each house took to build. And when phase 2 rolled around, they used this feedback or this information and ensured that no mistakes were done, and no mistakes were done with the remaining construction of the houses, but also make sure that these houses were done more efficient and effectively. So when phase 3 rolls around, this will ultimately go with their goal, which is establish an energy neutral community with homes to supply their residential daily needs, and also reduce the demand on the state's troubled grid. And with the Tesla initiative, the homeowners of the sustainable houses will have peace of mind when a natural disaster occurs or when the power grid fails to supply the unexpected demand. And I believe this is a great start, these infrastructures, it's a great start to implement the clean energy. And I can't wait to see what else Elon Musk has in store for us. And I'm gonna pass it over to Angel now that we will cover more projects in the area.
how's it going, y'all? I'm Angel. Thank you so much, Diane. And let's talk about the Boring Project right here in Austin, Texas, a little bit north up in Pflugerville. So basically right now, it's pretty much in the proposal stages. We've got Elon Musk trying to dig holes in the ground, basically to transport people in Teslas through the tunnels. at first you hear that and it's, well, how is that really inclusive? How does that really fit into the SDG goals? But really at the end of the day, this could develop some really key infrastructure for the city, and it could lead to some really great advancements and overall down the line, some really great stuff can come from this, maybe subway stations or some kind of public transportation that honestly really benefits the environment and benefits cities in a lot of different ways. This targets the aspects or the targets in SDGs 9.1, which is to develop quality, reliable, sustainable, and resilient infrastructure. Then we've got 9.4, which is to upgrade infrastructure and make them more sustainable, increase resource use efficiency. So those technological advancements can tie into that. 9.5 as well with the scientific research. There's probably a lot that goes behind the engineering for big projects. So there's a lot to be learned there. And 9.7 to support domestic technology development. And this is going to develop technology. There's always new discoveries with this kind of stuff. So very, very exciting project, especially here in Austin with the terrible traffic that we have. These highways are terrible over here. But yeah, so about the next slide, our partner Casey was meant to be here. He won't be able to present, but
I'm here, Angel.
Great. Oh, you are presenting.
I'm here.
Oh, I'm so
Hello,
sorry.
all. Yeah, no worries at all.
I'm so sorry. That's my bad. Casey's here. I'm gonna hand it off to Casey, and he's gonna kill it with this.
Hey, hello all. Today I'll be talking about Samsung Semiconductor Facility here in Taylor, Texas, which is falls in Austin ecosystem. The infrastructure sector has a cross-cutting impact on the productive activities of an economy. And with adequate infrastructure, it determines access to markets, such as products and inputs, constructions of building for basic services, and it has a significant influence on the quality and access to technology. And Samsung, with it being a conglomerate and not based in the US, they have their largest investment here in the state of Texas. And what that does with this $1.6 million square foot facility, it has created over 2,000 positions to be filled within Central Texas. So not only are they using their infrastructure to boost Austin ecosystem alone, it's also bridging the gap through technology skills, and they're solving the global supply chain issue on semiconductor smart chips, which are in all of our technologies that we use today. And along with that, they're investing in 5G technology, artificial intelligence technology, and high performance computing. And the infrastructure of a country also the ability to attract investment, which Samsung is doing through the Texas and Austin ecosystem specifically, and making it essential to increase the competitiveness of a national economy. It facilitates regional integration and reduces poverty at the same time. On the other hand, the purpose of infrastructure sector is not only to build physical assets, but also to create sustainable logistics and mobility, semiconductor chips, making it a key precursor for the development of a country. And we're very thankful that Samsung has invested over $17 billion. In addition to this, in closing, corporate social responsibility in an infrastructure sector plays a key role because it creates an ethical behavior and promotes the social, environmental, and economic goals related to sustainability efforts and development. And Samsung has done a great job here in Central Texas on solving those global supply chain issues. And that wraps up around Samsung. And
So, yeah.
here are QR codes for our LinkedIn profiles that Angel created, if anyone's interested.
Feel free, y'all. That's the end of the presentation. We appreciate everybody's attention, and everyone was awesome. Everyone did really great. I can just comment.
Very much. These have been excellent presentations, excellent research, and they are connected to the SDGs, and I think they will provide all of us with good information and possible research to share with others. And I hope that all of you see your research being used in other ways. So thank you all very much.
Very nice job, I think. Round of applause for all the presenters. You did an excellent job. If you were in my business communication class, you'd get perfect scores, every single one of you. So we have about 20 minutes for Q&A and discussion. So this is the chance for you to ask all the questions you've been holding throughout these sessions with these great presentations. So you can either just unmute yourself and ask your question, or if you're more comfortable asking it on chat, just put it in there and I will ask it on your behalf. So let's get that rolling if you'd like to. Who would like to throw out the first question today? We have Manuel would like to have the first question. Go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry, it's like a bug. I can't take the hand back.
Oh, okay. Did you have a question?
I was trying to applause with the emoji, and
Actually, he did have a pause. He didn't have his question.
Very good. Okay. Any others who would like to ask some questions? Get us started either on the chat or the live. There's one here. So this one is to team 2-1. Question 1, did you notice, measure, feel any changes in communication between generations after COVID when we all were forced to adopt the digital tech? Argentina team, that is for you. Did you notice, measure, feel any changes in communication between generations after COVID?
So yes, probably. I mean, the pandemic allow us to find other ways to communicate and other ways to create change, but it did feel like elder people were more moved from the key points of society. So probably they weren't participating as much as younger people, because mainly they do not.
It's like natural that we younger people like engage more in that kind of sense, but also we younger must adapt to new ways of going to classes, for example, and everything. Here we have the difference that there are many places where people cannot access internet in the like inside of the country. So that also was like a stop for education and everything to continue. So it just developed communication, but also stopped education in many senses.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other questions here? There's one in the chat that I think just came to me. So for Team Germany, after researching the pros and cons of lithium battery solutions, would you still recommend it as a solution given the disadvantages it has? And that was for Team Germany, obviously.
Hi, thank you for the question. So, like all things on earth, they all have disadvantages and advantages. But if you try to weigh out both disadvantages and advantages, you would say that in the long term, we can always look for ways to eliminate the disadvantages, but the advantages still outweigh the disadvantages of lithium-ion batteries as compared to other batteries or other maybe natural resources when being extracted. So yes, we will still stick to lithium-ion batteries, notwithstanding the disadvantages.
Thank you very much. Okay, other questions? Feel free to jump in, or just commentary, observations maybe that you had throughout the presentations. There were so many great things presented. It's hard to focus on one thing. Anybody else who would like to jump in, feel free to do so, or you can chat.
I think there is one from Team 4.
Oh, there it is, Romania. What are the missing enabling factors to let Romania increase or improve their SDG performance, as to your opinion? Anyone from Romania team who would like to jump in to answer that question?
I mean, I can start, but as you may all recognize, we're not all living here or grew up here in Romania, so we have like limited knowledge about it. But when I understand the question right, one factor which is definitely will like increase or improve all the SDG performance in general is like the close relationship to the EU. So there's a lot of funding coming in. So that's a big incentive for many Romanian companies from my perspective, but maybe someone else, my team can give some more information or input.
That's right, Julius. I'm from Romania. I'm living here. I was born in Romania, and that what are you saying? That's very true. This is the main enabling factors.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, what again, like what comes to my or came to my mind is another factor that Romania and Germany has like they have a really close relationship between the companies. For example, here in Romania, many big German companies like having business here, and for them, for example, also for Papyrus, it's really important for them. For example, Teaser, it's a really important partner. For example, for Papyrus, that they have some certain qualifications or benchmarks in terms of the environmental issues. So that's another really that has also really high impact on doing great in terms of the environment and social aspects.
Very good. Thank you so much. Okay, other questions, commentary?
I did have a question for the first Argentina team. So in South America, there's the issue of machismo, a lot with the older generation. Is that still seen with the younger, newer generation? Has that kind of been passed down, or is it still mainly a problem that the older generation faces?
So I think that probably there's been an improvement from years ago, that younger generations do talk and communicate more with older generations. I mean, I see it in my house probably with my grandparents. That would have never happened in older generations as for with my parents and their grandparents. So I think that older people are more open to change, but there's still some improvements to do.
Yes, also because we live like in a country where family interaction is very important for us. And normally you see grandparents and parents being very open to new topics. That is very important for us and for communication, because we have like very good and close relationship to older people.
Yeah.
Like it's very important for us. And also our partner wants to add something.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. No. Yes. Sorry with the microphone problems. The pandemic gave a really good opportunity, because as we were close-ups, the fathers of the family, the old generation and the new one, we were forced in a sort of clashing point because of the 24 hours, and this opportunity led to a better communication, to understanding one another, and this was really good for getting their point of view, how they were educated, which was the culture with which they were born, because it's in sort of the DNA and it's not easy for them to change it in a snap. So this opportunity of they putting themselves in our shoes because of the pandemic was a point of a lot of stress for some of us, and being vulnerable with one another really set the opportunity to help with each other and understand better.
Very good. Thank you very much for those responses. And we have two more here. We have one for Team 6, Team USA, who covered Goal 9, Innovation and Infrastructure Sustainability. So the question is, let me make sure I didn't miss one. Oh, no, there's another one. So let's start with this one. Team 3 USA, Q1. My question is more on the side of cryptocurrencies. Do you feel like a very strong support, adoption, and usage of cryptocurrencies among the private persons could jeopardize the functions of banks and impact financial stability of a country? Or is that not a threat in your opinion?
Yeah. So the issue that cryptocurrency has, there's a couple of things. It's also one of its strengths, but it's a pretty volatile, not very stable form of currency. I mean, the price of Bitcoin 30 minutes ago is going to be different from the price of Bitcoin now. Same thing with a lot of the other cryptocurrencies that exist. So that can cause issues with Bitcoin. It's within like 3%, so it not as big of an issue as some of the other ones, but there's still some sort of volatility. There's always the risk of it collapsing under the weight of itself. With the other issue is that it's not centralized. So within like a country, you have a central bank that helps mitigate a lot of the risks. It provides legislation that banks need to follow, and cryptocurrencies, because it's not centralized, there's a lot of give and take with that. And one of the and it's harder for example, the US, the Federal Reserve, it's harder for the Federal Reserve to give the what's the word, requirements, some of the requirements they have for banks. It's harder for those banks to follow with crypto. So there is some give and take, some pros, some cons, but overall I think and this is my opinion 100%, but it is my opinion that while cryptocurrency is like good and it's something to keep an eye on and kind of invest, it's something that some people might want to invest in, the fact that it's not centralized and it's not regulated as well as money can lead to a lot more issues down the line. And there's a huge risk with kind of incorporating that into like the day-to-day of banks.
Thank you very much, Nico.
Thank you. Amazing.
Okay, we have a couple more questions here. Let's see if we have enough time. So Romania, what are the missing enabling factors to let Romania increase or improve its SDG performance?
I think it was asked, sorry to.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I'm losing track of it. Okay, let's see. This one was the one for Team 6 USA, Innovation and Infrastructure. As you mentioned about 2 company activities in Austin, Texas, how do you think that the competition between only 1 or 2 companies in Austin can help to reach the SDG Goal 9? Do you feel that there should be more companies or more regulations to make the companies looking forward to meet the SDG goal?
So I'll take that, and I'll just say, while we talked about the 2 companies, it's not just those 2 companies kind of operating here in Austin. They're really big companies, and these projects are massive projects. I mean, we're talking about digging tunnels under cities. So these are very high barrier of entry sort of projects. The boring project, that's going to take a lot of money. And I mean, a guy like Elon Musk, he's got that money, he can get that funding. You look at Samsung as well. I mean, they were kind of almost forced to come here to the US with the new the CHIPS Act and what the US is trying to do with semiconductors and solving kind of their end of the supply chain, making themselves more competitive. I'd say there's plenty of competition in Texas, and in terms of regulations to meet the SDG goals, I personally think that should play a factor, but I'm no policymaker or anything, so I can't really comment too far on that.
Thank you very much, Angel. We have time for 2 more questions from the chat. one for Team Indonesia, and one for the Tesla team. So Team Indonesia, we have the same question for you. What are the missing factors to improve SDG performance in Indonesia?
Thank you so much for the question from Valentina Baderako. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. So the Indonesian government have making some plans and regulation for making to achieve SDGs that have been pointed in our presentation, and also the government in our region having different difficulties due to the capacity for reaching every region, every places, and that is the factor that really having implication, having a lot of I'm sorry. So that is the factor that making the government have difficulties to do SDGs that we've pointed earlier, and also different kind of reaction from different region from the people have been quite challenging to the government to making SDGs achieve. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Talia. And the final question for today is Team 6 Tesla. Tesla team, if Tesla can successfully work with government agencies and build more efficient modes of transportation, do you believe this will pave the way for more efficient public transportation, generally speaking?
I think it definitely will. And I mean, Texas is a pro-business state, and they're likely to work together. And with projects like tunneling come a lot of possibilities. You can get subway stations, and that's a very effective way to transport people. You're not having to sit on a bus stuck in traffic or anything like that. I believe Elon moved the Boring Company from Los Angeles, and his goal is actually sustainability. So with public transportation comes reduced emissions, less people in their own individual cars, and more people kind of in one spot getting somewhere and getting back. But yeah, basically, will this pave the way for more efficient public transportation? Absolutely. And it's a very, very big problem here in Austin, Texas, especially. We don't have a very effective method of public transportation, and that's huge for any place. I mean, you look over at Europe, and that's, I mean, a lot of places you can get somewhere within walking distance, but here in the US, you need a car, and it's very, without the public transportation, a lot of people can feel kind of left behind, or and so those issues exist. So yes, this definitely will pave the way for more effective public transportation.
Thank you very much, Angel. Sounds like we have the world's next generation of problem solvers in this forum right here. Can't wait to see what you do with your knowledge and your many great talents. Thank you again to all of our teams, presenters, and faculty who supported all of these great teams who were with us today. We'll move to Dr. Swid for our conclusion.
Oh, wow. We have seen 6 great presentations today, and I would like to start with asking you, inviting everybody to give yourself applause, guys. Really.
Nice.
I'm so proud of you, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed being here with all of you today. And so let me conclude by sincerely thanking all who participated in our forum today. Your presence, your ideas, your thoughts, and the commitment you brought to this forum today will make the difference in the future. Thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Great job, everyone. Muchísimas gracias. Buenas noches, buenas tardes. Have a wonderful.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Let's do this again next year. We'll see you next year at the next one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Dr. Wilburn. Thank you, Dr. Wilburn, for your
greetings.
time.
All the best.
Thank you, Dina. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.